This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Please be aware I am not a medical expert, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Explore, Love podcast. I'm Ashley. This podcast is based off of my blog of the same name, Eat, Explore, Love. It talks about the unique challenges in traveling around the world when you have celiac disease. Due to sort of popular demand, I decided to also record a podcast to delve a little deeper into my travels and the lessons learned along the way. I got to spend 2 very tumultuous weeks in Glasgow. Tumultuous not because of the city itself, but just a lot happened in my personal life for the 2 weeks that I was there. But throughout my adventures, I was able to come across some folks that were in the same boat as myself, as far as being a solo traveler. It made me realize a lot of women are powerful in so many ways, including but not limited to the fact that we seem more likely to be fine with just traveling the world on our own. And it's interesting how when we come across each other, we band together and we make sure to give each other tips about other places we might encounter along the way. So the lesson for this episode is going to be tips for the solo traveler. There is no sincerer love than the love of food. Eating in Glasgow. So it was really interesting because it wasn't as easy as I would have thought in Glasgow to eat, but one of the places that I went to was called Muffin Break. They usually only serve 2 gluten-free muffins a day, but they get the job done into something quick and easy to pick up at breakfast. You can find it in the mall in Glasgow. So the city center is very small. There's only one mall. It's within that mall. Go check out Muffin Break. Another place I went to check out was Mono. It was a cute little lunch place that mainly focused on vegan options, but it did have a gluten-free menu and the garlic bread was really yummy. Another place that you can check out is Barolo. They had a gluten-free menu here as well, and I had their lamb and panna cotta. It was pretty decent. Another place to check out is Bar and Block Steakhouse. I had a really good meal with a lot of fish. They do have an allergen binder, and the staff was not really great in being helpful in confirming it. They said, we'll just check the allergen binder if it's gluten-free or not. Tips for anybody that works in a restaurant or owns a restaurant. Sometimes mistakes happen and the binder is going to be incorrect. I've had that happen to me before, or the markings are sometimes a little bit confusing. So make sure your staff is educated, or make sure if you work on the staff that you are educated as far as what is gluten-free and not, or any other type of allergy. Make sure you're at least aware of that. DiMaggio's was an Italian place that also had an allergen binder to go along with their menu. They had gluten-free pasta options, but the gluten-free pizza would not be considered safe for those with celiac. There's a chain place that served breakfast called Stack and Still. There was a version of there in London. I went to the chain restaurant in Glasgow, and the gluten-free pancakes tasted like real pancakes as far as how I can remember. I also went to the Willow Tea Room. It was a really good, cheap way of getting the afternoon tea experience. Make sure you get their free from menu, but triple check and make sure what you're ordering is gluten-free, because just because it's free from, usually it's just saying it's free from gluten. In the UK, it's how they seem to designate that. But in this instance at the Willow Tea Rooms, free from could mean free from meat, free from dairy free from anything. So it's just their allergy menu. So make sure you're looking at the things that are marked GF for gluten-free next to the items on their menu. Amore Restaurant e Pizzeria has a gluten-free menu with a lot of options. I also ordered some fish and chips from Blue Lagoon, which was right next to the train station. It did not sit in my stomach well, so I'm not sure if there's cross-contamination in the fryer, but just be careful if you decide to go there. Maybe my body just has an issue with anything fried. Rain was a natural state of Glasgow, exploring Glasgow, which is funny because most of the time it was raining during the 2 weeks I was there. There were 2 tours that I booked through Guru Walks, and both tours were incredibly similar. So there was the dark and secret past of Glasgow and the mysterious and magnificent history of Glasgow. They both had pretty much the same stops. The dark and secret past of Glasgow has more thorough and in-depth stories for each stop, whereas the mysterious and magnificent history of Glasgow has additional stops. I would personally choose the dark and secret past of Glasgow. I don't think the extra stops added anything, and I liked the more in-depth stories. I think you only need to choose one of those tours. You do not need to go on both. Never did the world make a queen of a girl who hides in houses and dreams without traveling. As most people know, I tend to travel alone, and this freaks people out beyond imaginable. So for those of you that are dreaming of this and want to explore the world, and if you're like me and had a vivid imagination and got lost in your books when you would read, or, watch movies and think, wow, it would be really cool to be able to see that, because let me tell you, that's where I get really nerdy about this, when I watch a film, like a James Bond movie, and I go, I've been there before. So those of you that would like to do that and have crazy relatives like me that are in a constant state of panic, here are some tips that I can give you to help put some of their minds at ease. And also for those of you that have relatives like mine that are in a constant state of panic and are always nervous, and if that's what's preventing you from going and traveling, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do that makes them feel comfortable. You have to do what's best for you. If you have dreams, go after them. And again, some of these tips are to help ease your anxieties, and the more calm and confident you are, the more it helps put other people's anxieties at bay. So make sure that you create a detailed itinerary and share it with a family member and or a friend. I personally usually share my itinerary with my mother and with my best friend Kira. That way they know where I am at all times. My friend also, most people have their parents follow them on the Life 360 or something like that. My best friend Kira follows me and has my location, and she always sees where I'm at. So, also do that. Don't post things in real time on social media, even though you might be on private. Just make sure the photos or videos that you're posting on your profile are when you're safe and at home for the night, or when you're back from your trip and whatnot. Or usually I do it at dinner every night. I will post all my photos for the day. There's always ways around these private barriers. There's always a way, you never know who's looking over someone's shoulder, to be able to track where you are. So never post anything in real time. My other suggestion is, when you're walking around, make sure you have headphones in, either whether it's AirPods or actual headphones or whatnot. If you have AirPods, you can leave one in, leave one out, so that way the noise canceling aspect of it, you can still hear what's going on around you. but make sure that you're listening to the instructions from your GPS so you don't have your phone out and you're not looking at your phone trying to navigate your way around. You're instead of listening to the instructions and you're able to keep your eyes forward. There's a podcast called Killer Psyche where it's a former FBI profiler. She gives some tips for women, well, people in general, and they found studies of people that were criminals. They tended to go after people that were looking to the ground, or people that were on their phones not paying attention, or people that just looked anxious and unsure of where they were or not confident. Do everything that you can to set up a system where you're not having to look at your phone, where you're looking straight ahead and you look confident in where you're going. I also like to walk right in the middle of the sidewalk. I know that there's a tendency to walk to the right or over on one side because, traffic patterns. I like to walk in the middle, not too close to the wall, so that way at night especially I can see shadows bouncing off the wall if there's people behind me or not, and then not too close to the street because, well, cars. Have one or two people that you check in with every night to let them know that you're safe. I usually text my mom and again my best friend Kira to be like, oh, this is what I did today, this is what happened, yada yada. I even will text them when I'm boarding or landing on a plane, and to the point where my mother responds with, I didn't even know you were going someplace, so I'm not sure why you're telling me. Mom, it's for safety. That's why I'm texting you. I know you're not interested, but I'm texting you for safety purposes. That way someone always knows where I am. Again, I said this before, share your location with someone. My grandmother and my best friend. My grandmother, I follow her on Life 360, but she's also able to follow me. And then my best friend, she's able to track my location as well. Because on iPhones, I don't know how it is with Android phones, but on iPhones you can share your location with someone on a constant basis. And just have fun. It's an intimidating experience, absolutely, but it's so worth it. And if you're traveling alone, it's the way you learn the most about yourself. And it's the way that I have so many epiphanies and so many great learning experiences while traveling by myself. And I've very rarely not felt safe. And it's usually I trust my gut. I do what I can to not walk alone at night. But I don't let anything prevent me from being able to have a good time. And we are living in a world where true crime is a big thing that people listen to and explore and read about and watch and listen to, and I'm definitely one of those people. But you learn on those things that something can happen to you just by going to the grocery store. And if something can happen to you just going to the grocery store, there's so many people that say to me, but what if, a war breaks out while you're over in whatever place that you're in, or what if something happens to you? And at least I can say if something happens to me, I took every safety precaution that I could, and at least I'm doing everything that I love, and I'm someone that I don't want to be on my deathbed regretting the opportunities I didn't take because I was too afraid to do it. And I'd rather something bad happen to me because I was doing something that I loved over playing it safe my whole life and having regrets when it's too late to do anything about it. So I say, go and live your life and be prepared, be smart, and trust yourself. Now, here are the wrap-up questions. Do I feel that the city of Glasgow is safe for those with celiac? It wouldn't be one of my top recommendations of places to go, but if you were going from a celiac-only perspective, but you can find options if you need to. My favorite place to eat seems like it was perhaps Stack and Still. Favorite memory from the experience. One of the tours I did, there were a lot of other females that were, again, traveling solo, and we kept exchanging travel stories, and they were about to go to some countries that I had just been to and things like that. And we were able to exchange tips and stuff. So that was a really good memory. Is this a city to vacation to or live in? I think more so to live in. Is this a place to relax or be active? I think relax. And how are the people? Very kind. I think Glasgow is a great city. So definitely recommend. I think you only need like a day to go. Maybe if you're in Edinburgh, like you do a quick day trip to Glasgow, but mainly your focus being on Edinburgh. That would be my recommendation. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoys some solo traveling. If you have great solo traveling stories, please reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. I would love to hear it. Thank you for joining me this week for all the fun journeys and lessons learned on my big adventure called life. For more information on the different cities discussed, check out the blog posts on hieatexplorelove.com, posted every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Until next week, remember to eat well, explore the world, and love yourself. See you next time. This episode is produced, scripted, and edited by me, Ashley. Special thanks to Sarah Mientka.